friends, to yet another episode of Fantasy Football Picks and Bets presented by PrizePicks. I am Lauren Carpenter. You can find me at Stepmom Lauren, and if you can't tell, today is a little bit of a crazy hair day, but that's okay because week 6 was crazy. So this is appropriate that I have messed up hair. It's just how it goes. There's so many things that we need to cover today that I did not have time to get this situation figured out, but that's okay because in today's video, we are going to go over the PrizePicks leaderboard. We are going to go over some waiver wire targets. There are a lot, and some streaming options heading into week 7. But before we get into any of that, remember, if you have not signed up for PrizePicks yet, please do so. PrizePicks.com. Promo code MMN. There is even a link in the description of this video. It's very easy to do. And come take part in our 7-Eleven challenge. It is a ton of fun. You get prizes first, second, third. You get prizes for the middle. And you get prizes for the very, very dead last spot. You still get prizes, which I was very happy to see on our leaderboard. We have some new signups that are gunning for that last place prize, which I absolutely love. My over-under picks, they did pretty well. I got, let's see, how many? 3 out of 5. Man, I didn't beat out Pat Mayo. Pat Mayo got 4 out of 5 on his. I got 3 out of 5 on mine. And Alan W., I'm still looking at you, my friend, because you're still number 1. You are number 1 with 25 total. And behind you, we have 3 people tied for second place. I apologize because last week I misspoke and I said third place twice. It's second place, my friends. I am very sorry about that. But Jason K., Joseph W., and John H., you are all tied at 22 for second place. And Nicholas R. and Neil F., as in Frank. No, I don't know if that's your last name or not. We just get an initial. You are tied for third at 21. And let me scroll all the way. Oh, is that a middle? No, that's not a middle. I thought they were going to tell me where the middle was, and they did not. But we have so many entrances here. I'm still scrolling down, by the way, in case y'all are wondering. That's how many there are. Ty or TY? TY Hilton, are you playing too? It's not. It's TYS. Thank you for joining our 7-Eleven challenge because I haven't seen your name on here before. You're at 0, tied with Nicholas T. Dale P. You're still there too. John B. As are you. And Francis K. Welcome in. Have fun. This is a party. Remember, everyone, PrizePicks.com, promo code MMN. You get your deposit of up to $100 matched. It's free money. I love PrizePicks. It's a new obsession. I absolutely love playing it. It's a ton of fun. Get in on our 7-Eleven challenge. It's very easy. It's 5 over-under picks for the Thursday and Sunday games. And you change your bet amount to $7.11. That's how they track it. 5 over-under picks, remember that. Just don't choose the Monday game because that's when, as you can see, I'm talking to you about it. This is Monday evening. The game has not yet played, but this is going to be for your Tuesday waivers. But before we get into waivers, we have to talk about our injuries. It's always such a pain in the butt. And unfortunately, every week we have a whole slew of new injuries that we have to talk about. Kareem Hunt. As if it wasn't bad enough for the Browns, this just makes matters worse, all right? So he was already coming into the game hobbled, and I guess you could call it re-aggravated or hurt even worse, that calf. He had to be helped off the field, and then later he was carted to the locker room. Nick Chubb is also out. This is not great because they play Thursday. Speaking of the Browns, Baker Mayfield dislocated his left shoulder again and retore his already torn labrum. That's a hot mess. He really wants to play through it, but Kevin Stefanski is going to make him get a second opinion and decide whether or not it's going to be Baker Mayfield or Case Keenum, who I do have a deep fondness for, my friend. Case Keenum, Rams, I see you. So that's a whole situation going on with the Browns. I'm going to talk about 2 options at the running back position that you can maybe take a look at. And there's another name I don't have on waivers because I'm pretty sure this is someone you can pick up. Donovan Peoples-Jones, wide receiver. He is someone else you can possibly look at, but it's going to depend on whoever it is at quarterback. We have so many things going on for week 7. I just have to fly through these so you're not listening to me jammer on and yammer on and gabber on and for, next Tuesday. Week 8. We don't want that at all. So real quick, Dak Prescott, he was spotted in a walking boot. He hurt his calf on the very last play of the game. He says he'll be fine. They're coming into their bye week. MRIs were negative for anything severe, so that should be good. With a week of rest, he should be just fine for week 8. hopefully, fingers crossed. Paris Campbell, he suffered a, quote, significant foot injury, according to the head coach, Frank Wright of the Indianapolis Colts. Fire up Zach Pascal. Alex Collins, the backup running back for the Seattle Seahawks, he has a hurt hip. And as usual, Pete Carroll is being very, very evasive. And he's like, well, we're not going to say anything until the very last minute of the game. So who knows what is going on there. DJ Dallas is a name that I'm going to bring up later on when I talk about running back waiver pickups that you can take a look at. But that's just something to keep an eye on. On some better news here, which is the only good news I have in the injury report because it's not really an injury, but Calvin Ridley, wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons, who was not dealing with injury. He was dealing with some personal issues. He is back at practice. He should be good to go, so that is exciting for all of you Calvin Ridley managers and Atlanta Falcons fans, so that is really good news. And last but not least, Kadarius Toney, after we all hyped him up, myself included, he got hurt early in the game for the Giants. He was ruled out almost immediately. So keeping an eye on him moving forward is going to be crucial. Fire up your Sterling Shepard shares if you have any of them. I think he's about 55 to 60% rostered, so I did not include him on this week's list, even though I've talked about Sterling Shepard quite a bit already. But let's hop right into it here, and let's start this time with our running back spots because we have a lot. Like I mentioned, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, out. I don't know about Nick Chubb's status for Thursday, but it's not looking good. So we have two options here for the Browns. We have Demetric Felton and we have Dearness Johnson. Now, both of these two have slightly different identities when it comes to their running game prowess. Demetric Felton is apparently the pass catching back. He is 9% rostered. He is expected to, I guess, fulfill the Kareem Hunt role as well as any backup can possibly do. This is going to be volume-based for both of these running backs. Their matchup is absolutely terrible against the Denver Broncos, so this sucks all the way around. And like I said, he's the pass-catching back, so Dearness Johnson is going to fulfill a little bit more of that traditional type running back role. He is only 3% rostered, and I think the reason for that is Dearness Johnson had a shot to really do something last year, and he did not make anything of it. So out of the two of those, I'm leaning a little more Demetric Felton simply because of that pass-catching game. Short dump-off passes for an injured Baker Mayfield. I do like that. But either way, either of these two running backs should see volume. I don't know if they're going to see a ton of success, but volume is king in fantasy football, especially when you don't have any running backs to start. I am actually starting Demetric Felton in one of my leagues because I absolutely have to. Now, let me move on really quickly to Kenyon Drake of the Raiders. I'm only going to mention him briefly because he is 53% rostered, so likely he's unavailable. Same thing with my next running back as well. But with this change that the Raiders have experienced because of this situation with John Gruden, they kind of have this renewed sense of identity, sense of self, sense of team. And Kenyon Drake under Rich Bisaccia, I think that's how you say it, Bisaccia, he actually did quite well. And we didn't see a ton of volume, but we saw it at the goal line, which is kind of what we had expected moving in. He did very well in their matchup. So if he is available, I think he would be a sneaky pickup. Likely not. They face Philadelphia, then they have a bye, so beware of that. And then they play the Giants. I don't hate this at all for the Raiders and for Kenyon Drake. Michael Carter is another name that might already be rostered. However, they are coming off of a bye. So if someone in your league had to make some room for a starter, he might have been the one to see the waiver wire over some other options. He is 52% rostered. This is a terrible matchup situation, but you really may have to do this and rely more on volume. He is kind of in a committee, if you will, I guess you can call it that, with Tevin Coleman and Ty Johnson, but Michael Carter is the guy. They face New England, then Cincinnati, and then Indianapolis. It's absolutely terrible, but, desperate times, okay? Desperate measures. Speaking of, as I mentioned before, not speaking of, but as I mentioned before, we'll just run that right all together. DJ Dallas, okay? We don't know what's going on with Alex Collins. We don't know what's going on with Chris Carson and his neck injury. It's a hot mess. But DJ Dallas made the best he possibly could. He had 5 targets, 5 receptions, and 31 yards, but he also had 97 return yards. So if you're in a league that counts that, that's really nothing to sneeze at. And he did pretty well in a really bad matchup against the Steelers. Don't forget, they have Geno Smith as the backup quarterback starting as of right now, although Pete Carroll said he's not going to turn down any opportunities. Hint, hint. They were talking to Cam Newton. Interesting. Keep your eye on that situation moving forward. I don't have any news regarding that. Otherwise, I would have made a way bigger situation out of that earlier. But it's just something to keep in mind, especially if you're in a dynasty and you have Cam Newton just sitting there. Or he likely is just out there floating. Keep your eye on the news. Terrible, terrible matchups again. New Orleans, Jacksonville's okay, but then they have a bye. So that's interesting to keep your eye on for DJ Dallas. Again, another situation where you might have to start someone like DJ Dallas. He is 2% rostered, so very likely he should be available. Ramondre Stevenson. Running back for the Patriots, he is 11% rostered. He really saw some uptick in his work recently and in the passing game. With James White sidelined for the rest of the season, Ramondre Stevenson is filling in that pass catching role to complement Damian Harris. So he did pretty darn well, and I think he's only going to start getting better as Mac Jones starts to feel a little bit more comfortable targeting him. They play the Jets, like it. The Chargers, like it. And Carolina, don't like it. But it doesn't matter. The next 2 weeks, Ramondre Stevenson, who's only 11% rostered, he should see some points, specifically in PPR formats. I'm going to mention a few more here, kind of more of a dumpster dive, which I'll bring up on Wednesday as well, but Giovanni Bernard. He is a starting human body that is warm and not hurt-ish. For the Buccaneers, he is 19% rostered. He is another one that makes his hay in the passing game. Brady really likes to target him in the passing game when he's healthy, as well as in the red zone. Although, again, their schedule is not awesome. They play Chicago, New Orleans, and then they have a bye as well. Jerick McKinnon of the Chiefs, 19% rostered. He is only one injury away to Darrell Williams from becoming the RB1. And if we have a trend going on right now, all the time, especially in 2021, our running backs are getting hurt. So he may be a pickup and stash if you need to, as well as the next name that I'm going to mention. But the Chiefs play Tennessee, the Giants, and then Green Bay. It's decent. So if something happens to Darrell Williams, you already have a starting RB1 for the Kansas City Chiefs, who also happens to be pretty good in the passing game. Last but not least, for our running backs, and this one might be my favorite ad, and that is Chris Evans of the Cincinnati Bengals, who is only 4% rostered. He did really well. I kept listening to his name being called constantly in that game. He had 3 receptions on 3 targets for 49 yards and a touchdown, and it really looks like Joe Burrow liked to target him, and this was while Joe Mixon was healthy. Sure, Samaje Perine was on the COVID-19, but I think Chris Evans just made the case for him to be next on the depth chart and replace Samaje Perine and push him back to the RB3. Not only that, but the Bengals running back schedule is juicy. They play the Baltimore Ravens, which I know on paper seems scary. Well, actually, previous years would seem scary, but they're letting in a lot of points to running backs, especially pass-catching running backs, which I really like. They also play the Jets, and then they play Cleveland. So let's move right along to our wide receivers. Again, this is another lengthy list of players that you can target heading into week 7. We have Darnell Mooney. Yeah, finally, he is 44% rostered, so he may not be available. But Justin Fields is starting to get a lot more comfortable in this offense, and he targeted Darnell Mooney for his first touchdown. Very exciting. They have excellent matchups moving forward over the next 3 weeks against Tampa Bay, San Francisco, and Pittsburgh. When I say the next 3 weeks, I actually just meant next week because I don't like San Fran or Pitt, but playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 7, I do like that for Darnell Mooney if he's available. And hi, welcome back to the NFL. T.Y. Hilton for the Colts. Also another one I didn't mention on my injury report. He's dealing with a quad injury, but T.Y. Hilton is one of those guys where when he is active on a roster, he's always on the injury report. Happens all the time. He's a gamble because of that. But he's also still very talented, and he's had a lot of rest so far in 2021. He is 39% rostered. They play San Francisco, Tennessee, and the New York Jets. He was targeted 4 times, caught all 4 of them, and he had 80 yards. Big playability. 1 touchdown would have made this a huge game for T.Y. Hilton, and that is definitely in his foreseeable future if he can stay healthy. If you need help with bye weeks and injuries, Marquez Callaway of the Saints is someone I highly recommend looking at. I love their schedule moving forward. Callaway is 34% rostered. He's also another one coming off of a bye, so if somebody had to make some room on their roster to pick up someone else who was playing, it might have been Marquez Callaway, who was just coming off of a huge game against Washington. Now, one of the things Jameis Winston has done is he has had the ability to play well against good matchups. That's what we like to see in fantasy, and that will directly correlate to Marquez Callaway. They're playing Seattle, then Tampa Bay, then Atlanta. Yes, please. He is a huge bust potential. I get it, but he is also a home run boom potential as well. And Jamison Crowder is a little bit more of a safer pickup here at 27% rostered for the Jets. And I know we have to rely on Zach Wilson, which is always kind of scary. However, this is Jamison Crowder. If anyone can get it done, it's going to be him. He can help fix a lot of those issues that hopefully the Jets have addressed during their bye week after London, okay? So they play New England, not great. Cincinnati, and then Indianapolis. The schedule is not absolutely beautiful, but again, this is Jamison Crowder, who is a veteran, and he knows what he's doing. Doesn't matter who's throwing him the football. And also, last but not least, someone who is the epitome of hit or miss, that is Randall Cobb, 12% rostered. After a really huge game, he then did nothing last week against the Bears. Like, what is happening right now? However, like I said, desperate times, desperate measures. They play Washington, Arizona, and Kansas City. He is worth a pickup if you need somebody to fill in for the bye weeks because that schedule looks very nice. And I do like Randall Cobb a lot. He's very good friends with Aaron Rodgers, so this might have been a weird kind of stick it to the Bears week. I'm not quite sure, but Randall Cobb, 12% rostered. Take a look at him, especially if you are in deeper leagues. Now let's move on to the tight end position, and if you missed the news, it's kind of exciting. Zach Ertz was traded, likely like in the middle of the game, to the Arizona Cardinals, who just seem to be getting better and better. Now, it's unlikely that he's available because he is rostered in 60% of leagues, but if he is, double check. You never know. Maybe somebody dropped him. Who knows? Double check to see if he's available. He has an excellent schedule on the Cardinals facing the Raiders, the Lions, and then the Chargers. So I really like Zach Ertz if he's available. And another one who made me feel semi-smart, even though I said Taylor Heineke was going to be a great start, and he absolutely was not. But the beneficiary of some of his passes was tight end Ricky Seals-Jones, 29% rostered. He is seeing the usage, especially with Curtis Samuel sidelined. And with Terry McLaurin dealing with injuries of his own, they face Green Bay, Denver, and then they have a bye. So if you are dealing with some tight end issues, look no further than Ricky Seals-Jones. I very much like him. Cole Kmet, since we're going to be on this Bears train here, 19% rostered. And when Justin Fields is playing better, he's targeting Mooney, he's targeting Allen Robinson. Cole Kmet also saw some more usage as well. He is a big athletic tight end, and Justin Fields is going to need him, and he is starting to rely on him. They play Tampa Bay, San Francisco, and then Pittsburgh. So the schedule isn't like super great. Week 8 and week 9, but week 7 against Tampa Bay, I do like that for Cole Kmet. And then let's see, we have two more here for you. Mo Alley-Cox, 8% rostered. He found the end zone. And with T.Y. Hilton back on the roster and healthy, they are stretching the field out a little bit more. Also, as I mentioned, Paris Campbell is injured. So if that is as significant as head coach Frank Reich, that is like a mouthful, as he says, Frank Reich. That's what I meant to say. Mo Alley-Cox could keep seeing this increased usage in this offense. It's okay when it comes to matchups. It's San Francisco, Tennessee, but the Jets is one I very much like for the Colts, and especially Mo Alley-Cox. And last but not least, Pat Freiermuth, as my very good friend Jake Seeley likes to call him, Pat Air Freiermuth. He is 6% rostered for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, this is, if he would have had a touchdown, this would have been a huge game for Freiermuth. Now, I know Eric Ebron, the other tight end, he was the beneficiary of the touchdown, but it was Freiermuth that was helping to move the chains, in addition to wide receiver Deontay Johnson. I think he is going to continue to see more targets from Ben Roethlisberger, who likes to target players that he can trust, and that is becoming Pat Freiermuth. So he is someone I would not sleep on. I would pick him up. I would stash him because they do have a bye this week. But if you have the room to put him on there, I would not wait, and I would get him in your roster if you can, heading into week 8 where they face Cleveland, and then they face Chicago, which is okay. But what's really awesome is in week 10 and week 11, they face Detroit, and then they face the Chargers. I really like that for a tight end schedule for Pat Freiermuth. And now let's head into our streaming options for the quarterback and the defensive positions. I already mentioned picking up Marquez Callaway. Why not pick up his quarterback as well? Like I said, he is doing very well. He's serviceable in bad matchups, but he is doing really well in juicy matchups, which is exactly what they have facing Seattle, who has a whole issue, a boatload of things that are going wrong with Seattle. But they have allowed the 9th the ninth worst against opposing quarterbacks. So Jameis Winston is only 38% rostered. Another one, welcome back, Tua Tagovailoa. He is 17% rostered, and again, we're picking on Atlanta here, but they are facing the Falcons. They have allowed the 12th most points to opposing quarterbacks, so I do like Tua. He looked good in London, even though they did lose the game. I was impressed with him. So pick up Tua Tagovailoa, and even if you just need to stash him for a bye week, because I like how he is playing. And last but not least, I might throw up a little bit in my mouth as I say this, but I'm saying this because this is strictly sort of a numbers game and a revenge game, but Jared Goff of the Lions, head coach Dan Campbell called him out, said he needs to play better, he needs to do better. Maybe this will galvanize Jared Goff. This is really if you are super desperate or if you're in very deep leagues or you want to put together some kind of a DFS lineup with someone who's very, very cheap, that would be Jared Goff. They are playing the LA Rams, and the Rams actually have done... they've allowed quarterbacks to do things against them. So this may be an opportunity for Jared Goff to kind of get himself right in this Lions offense. They're guaranteed to be playing from behind and losing. And don't forget, this is also a revenge matchup for Matthew Stafford as well. So I'm very excited to see this game. But Goff is only 11% rostered. I'm surprised he's even 11% rostered. Again, going up against the Rams in a revenge game, don't do this unless you absolutely have to. But he's there. I had to mention him. Matchup is pretty decent. Revenge game. Gotta love the narrative. Finally, let's jump into our defense special team streams for Week 7. Let's stick with New Orleans, baby. New Orleans, they are 40% rostered, and I already mentioned they're playing Seattle. And Geno Smith. And possibly in RB3 starting. It's not a good thing. So if New Orleans is somehow available, pick them up. I think there'll be a very good start on defense for you. And my next two options are actually playing each other. But this actually could turn out to be way more of a defensive battle than an offensive battle. The Raiders and the Eagles. So the Raiders are 13% rostered. And the Eagles have struggled. They have struggled. And the Raiders are really, as I mentioned before, galvanized. They are united after this whole kerfuffle that went on off field with John Gruden, and they really have an opportunity to make a statement here, and I think that they absolutely can do that on defense with Max Crosby. And on the other side of the ball, Philadelphia's defense is actually playing very well. They are only 4% rostered. They're kind of hit or miss, but they have done very well in good matchups, which is exactly what this is. So it's a little thin on the defense special teams streams this week. I will 100% admit that. But the Raiders, 13% rostered, and the Philadelphia Eagles, if you stream the position, are only 4% rostered and are absolutely there. I mean, it's better than starting no one. You know what I mean? I'd throw in Miami on that one, but I really don't like Miami's matchup either. So those are the three that I think could get you some points on defense. And that's all you have from me right now heading into Week 7. Make sure you sign up for PrizePicks.com, promo code MMN. I think I just spit on my camera a little bit. Sorry about that. Or follow the link in the description of this video. You will see me again on Wednesday as we go ahead and take a look at some of our more free agent streamers and dumpster dives in case you miss out on all of these waiver opportunities, which I hope you don't. And I hope my Wednesday video is just like, we don't need her, because you have everything that you need. And if you haven't done so already, please just take 1 second and hit that like button for me, and make sure you're subscribed to our channel here on YouTube, Mayo Media Net. Also, follow me. I'm on the socials. I'm Lauren Carpenter. You can find me at Stepmom Lauren. Come say hi. Come ask me some questions. Good luck in Week 7, and good luck on those waivers.